But what also I think upset people with that whole thing is that you can do all these photo shoots where you're using dark-skinned people as props. You can do all these photo shoots where you're having kinky afros that's not your hair texture and all these things. But then when someone asks you what race you identify as, you don't want to answer it because your answer, is not the marketable answer that they want you to say. They wanted Tyla to say she was black because they like non-black women to be the image of blackness. They wanted Tyla to conform to that because that makes them feel better about being attracted to somebody who isn't black. And like I say, you can't have Afrobeats or Afro-Brazilian or Afro anything without the Afro. There's just like a lightning, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'll see DJs play these music genres and they'll just play like the mixed people from every country.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can say.
Hi y'all, welcome to Mayowa's World. My name is Mayowa, and on my channel I like to talk about colorism, featureism, texturism, and anti-blackness. Today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreons, and I am very thankful. If y'all are not in my Patreon, join my Patreon. There's a Discord, we're watching movies together, we're hanging out, so yes, join the Patreon. Today I'm going to be talking about how blackness is being erased from Afrobeats, and it's really not just Afrobeats, I would say all genres, or maybe I should say the mixtification of Afrobeats. A couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, a lot of people were talking about Tyla because somehow online people were saying that African-American women were not accepting Tyla, which is just, I don't know, like that whole conversation was very strange for me to observe because I think it's weird to single out any marginalized group and say that you're the reason that someone isn't doing well. I think Tyla's career is doing well. I think that she's probably doing as many numbers as other artists in her range. But to make it, I don't know, just kind of felt like a manufactured diaspora war. I did see some videos of people saying that they don't like Tyla, but I feel like they should be able to say that. I personally didn't see it get xenophobic, but people were saying it did get xenophobic. So I was just like, let me just not say anything because I don't really know what's going on. So recently Tyla won a VMA award for Best Afrobeat Song of the Year. Thoughts about the fact that this is Tyla's second year in a row winning Best Afrobeats Song. And Afrobeats is literally a genre created in West Africa. It has its own history. And the music that Tyla makes isn't actually Afrobeats at all. To be honest, it's kind of like saying, to me, it's like saying that Fantasia should win Best Rapper of the Year. It's like Fantasia doesn't make rap music. She makes a completely different genre. But I think there's like a flattening of Africa that Afrobeats is literally everything from Africa. It means African beats. Like it doesn't make any sense. And I think that, conflating words like that can be problematic because it actually contributes to the erasure of what Afrobeats really is. But I'm not holding Tyla to account for the fact that these award shows are ignorant and anti-black. I'm not holding Tyla to that.
Show, but also bittersweet because I know there's a tendency to group all African artists under Afrobeat. It's a thing, and even though Afrobeats has run things and has opened so many doors for us, African music is so diverse. It's more than just Afrobeat.
I also forgot to mention that the artists who were competing for this award was Burna Boy, Ashake, Thames, Molly, a few other people. And I can only imagine how the actual Afrobeats artists feel to see somebody who is not black win 2 years in a row on a genre that literally comes from West Africa. And I also feel for Thames because Thames is the only black woman that was on that lineup. And it just doesn't seem like that's something that they're willing or wanting to give to black people who actually created that genre. I've spoken a lot about black erasure and how that affects black women. There is a desire to see non-black women as the image of blackness. And in this video, I'm going to discuss Tyla's positionality within all of this. I am not blaming Tyla for this. I think this has to do with the marketing of Tyla. So the framework that I'm coming from is one that is understanding that society tries actively to erase black women from everything. And when it comes to African art and African media, black women are already not seen on the same caliber as black men because of misogyny. But when you add colorism and the desire for racially ambiguous women to be the image of blackness, you can only imagine how much harder it is for African Black dark-skinned women. So for me, when I listen to Black music genres, I like to pick the blackest option. And that is something that I'm quoting from Amber Abundance. But like, if I'm going to listen to reggaeton, I want to listen to Black people doing reggaeton. If I'm going to listen to Afrobeats, I want to listen to Black people doing Afrobeats. If I want to listen to amapiano, I want to listen to Black people doing amapiano, because all of those genres started from Black people. So amapiano has been going on for such a long time, obviously before Tyla, but Tyla's success is the person who is a global star. And when people say global success, they usually mean racially ambiguous, because what people perceive as global success is somebody who could kind of be everyone's ethnic group and play into different roles. Like I saw a video of Rihanna of an interview she did back when she was in the beginning of her career, and she was talking about how hard it was for her to be mixed race.
I remember looking up to people like Mariah Carey, and the most I identified with her in so many ways. You know, she was biracial. She was also young. From the time I was very young, I was teased about being biracial. That was one of the first things I dealt with.
I'm a Black woman. I come from a Black woman who came from a Black woman who came from a Black woman.
I think this also really speaks to the times, because in the early 2000s, it was cool to lean into your mixed identity. And even people who were not mixed were claiming that they were mixed in the early 2000s because it was seen as a higher up thing to be when you are not fully Black. And around the 2010s and up until 2020, I think it became cooler to be Black. So a lot of people who never identified as Black or were very quick to claim mixed ancestry would switch and suddenly say that they are Black and that they are not mixed. Now, this is why it's interesting with Tyla's identity, because Tyla is someone who claims mixed identity. And I think in a space where a lot of people expected her to claim Black, and in a way that it would have been more profitable for her to claim Black, because then she could have gone the Cardi B route, or she could have gone the Amber Rose route, or any other of the many artists now who aren't Black who claim Black. But I think the ingredients to make a popular pop star is to get racially ambiguous women to claim Blackness. Like, I think that is a way to move quickly in your career. And I think that's what Rihanna did, and it worked very well for her. And I think people expected Tyla to do the same thing. So I think Tyla is mixed and says those things and garnishes people to end up pouring more into her to defend her, right? Even if you do like research into like the concept of a tragic mulatto, or like someone who, you know, is just like a trope of mixed race identity, is that they are bullied by Black women. And I think that what happened with Tyla is that people were saying, oh, Tyla's being bullied by Black women, and Black women are angry and jealous at her. And it's like, these are still creating the same tropes that mixed race people are these like innocent people who aren't doing anything and everyone attacks them. When I just feel like those things feel manufactured. My disconnect with Tyla has been around colorism, because I remember a shoot that Tyla did where she did this photo shoot, and the way that she used dark-skinned men in that photo shoot was a very colorist imagery. And what I've noticed with her marketing is, depending on who she's trying to reach, depending on what demographic she's trying to reach, she will change for each demographic. Like, I saw the image that she used for her like tour of Asia, and she had this certain bob, and like, let me know if y'all see it too, but it's kind of giving like, it's giving Asianish, you know what I mean? It's giving like slightly that. Tyla has South Asian ancestry, so do you know what I mean? Obviously, but that's not giving South Asian, it's kind of giving Eastern Asian, but you get what I mean? So I feel like it changes. And I see her do photo shoots where she'll have box braids, and she'll have a lot of Black hairstyles, and she'll wear a kinky afro that isn't her hair texture when it's to market to a more urban crowd. And like, I don't know, just that whole thing, I'm just over it. I don't really have a desire for people who shift depending on what's in fashion in that way, because I like Black people who, they're only Black, like they're showing up as Black. Like, that's who I like to pour my resources into. But what also I think upset people with that whole thing is that you can do all these photo shoots where you're using dark-skinned people as props. You can do all these photo shoots where you're having kinky afros that's not your hair texture and all these things. But then when someone asks you what race you identify as, you don't want to answer it, because your answer, you know, is not the marketable answer that they want you to say. They wanted Tyla to say she was Black because they like non-Black women to be the image of Blackness. They wanted Tyla to conform to that because that makes them feel better about being attracted to somebody who isn't Black. And it reminded me of this conversation that's going on currently on Twitter. This Italian girl posted a photo of herself, and people were in the comments saying that she was biracial. And people were like, you look like Lotto. Like, the Lotto kind of black girls, the black girls I like. Like, people were trying to ask her, trying to get her to kind of admit to being mixed. And she was like, I am 100% Italian. And people seemed disappointed by her answer because they wanted her to be mixed. Because you want her to say she's black so that you can justify that that is the kind of black girl you like, which is a white girl. Do you know what I mean? And so that's kind of the same thing with Tyla. Like, the American market wants her to identify as black. And making it seem as if black women are the reason that Tyla has the shift created is so disingenuous. Because I am certain that if you look at Tyla's team, it is a lot of black men or men in general who are marketing her the way that they want to. Who asked her if she was black? It was a black man. It wasn't a black woman who asked her if she identified as black. It was a black man. You can't not admit that those things make a messy introduction, right? And then this whole thing of like, if people don't like her, people are saying, oh, it's xenophobic. And it's like, my whole thing is there are so many African black artists who make music and tour in the US. Take, for example, Thames, take, for example, Ira Star. I haven't heard people, like, if there's gonna be somebody who's experiencing a severe form of anti-blackness and xenophobia, it would be those two people who are from West Africa with West African features. But like, people are cool with Thames. I've met many African-American women who like Thames so much. If you go to Thames concerts, a lot of African-American women are attending, a lot of African-American men, a lot of people are attending because they like Thames. Same with Ira Star. So I don't think that it's fair to say that African-American women have xenophobia towards Tyla when we have a lot of black women who are from Africa, who are from West Africa, who have always gotten support. You know what I mean? So there's just like, I feel like there's this marketing to make her into this like victim to then like push her as like the underdog, you know? I also think it's interesting that people have used Tyla to spearhead the conversation around xenophobia that Africans experience, considering the fact that Tyla is not a black African person. Because I know, although Tyla can definitely experience xenophobia because of the fact that she's not from America or the West, non-black Africans' experiences is not the same as black African experiences. And in fact, I would say that racially ambiguous people or non-black people in Africa experience a lot of privileges because Africa is still a continent that is heavily ruled by colorism, non-black proximity, texturism, and featureism. And I think that people would be surprised by the amount of people who aren't black in Africa and how that experiences is so jarringly different than people who are read as fully black in Africa. But there's like a lot of controversy around Tyla. A lot of it I do think is manufactured, but I want to talk about something that I've been seeing online, which is a lot of people accusing Ira Star of stealing from Tyla and trying to be like Tyla, which I think is really interesting because my introduction to Tyla was actually through Ira Star. I think Ira Star had more global success at that time, did a song with Tyla. Tyla blew up from that song. So to say that Ira Star is stealing from Tyla is kind of wild. Here's what people don't want to talk about. I think that a lot of Tyla's fan base can be colorist and xenophobic. I'm not saying her entire fan base is that, but I do think that sometimes the reason that people like her and enjoy her so much is simply because she's racially ambiguous and she's a pop star. And in those kind of fan base where a lot of times they do like you for those reasons can be very violent towards black people. So when I saw online that people were making fun of Ira Star because they're saying, oh, Ira Star's trying to be like Tyla because Ira Star is wearing a tank top and Tyla wore a tank top and Ira Star wears short dresses or short skirts and Tyla wears short skirts. That stuff is weird to me. And then people were like making fun of Nigerians on Twitter and saying like, oh, you could never be us. You guys want to be us. And it's like this idea that a black woman is wanting to steal from Tyla, but never the other way around, right? Like Ira Star has to steal from Tyla. Even though if y'all know Ira Star's branding, she's always been wearing those short dresses. And people are saying that, oh, the way she's dancing is trying to copy Tyla. We're winding waist. You know what I mean? So a lot of these conversations is aggravating. And I think that is annoying to a lot of people to hear. So, you know, we can acknowledge that those things play a role. But I do think Tyla's fan base can be a bit intense and bring up and like often, I don't know, pit her against other black women or pit her and say, oh, African Americans are angry at her. You know, so these are the kind of discussions that's why I say it's manufactured. So what I thought was so interesting with Tyla's success is like there's a South African amapiano artist called Camo, and her music is so amazing. She has so many viral songs that constantly go viral all the time, but her numbers are actually like, I remember when the song Water came out, Camo had also a very popular song that had more views and more streams than Tyla's did. And Kamo has had so many successful songs, right? But Tyla is picked because of colorism, because of skinny privilege, because of many texturism, many things, right? That is seen as a global star. And like those moments is just kind of really saddening because you know that certain artists are kept out simply because they are Black women. And what's even more going to be more severe is if they are dark-skinned women. Like I can't actually think of dark-skinned Amapiano artists who are women or not, are gender non-conforming people. If y'all know some, please leave them in the comments. But Amapiano is a Black art form. This is like a critique for DJs really, but I've been to so many events where whenever they want to play South African music, they'll just play a bunch of Tyla. And it's like, or whenever they want to play Amapiano music, they'll just play a bunch of Tyla. And it's like, there's so many Black artists who come from South Africa. Amapiano is actually music that comes from Johannesburg townships. And the word Amapiano is actually Zulu, and it translates to the word pianos. I'll put in the information, but it has a story, right? And it's rooted and it has roots in Black history. So like, why not put Black people who lived it and make the music? So even though Tyla is in Amapiano music, Amapiano is a Black genre. So like, when I say picking the Blackest option, this is what I mean. Like, why does the option of African music, of Black music, always end up becoming more and more mixed? And I'm actually noticing this on a global scale too, because when I hear people play a lot of Jamaican music, if they play Jamaican women, they're playing Shensia. I'm seeing more people talk about liking Shensia's music than I'm hearing them talk about Spice. Spice is obviously in a different age range, but we talk about global success, pop success. People know Shensia, but the reason that Shensia is pushed is because she's also mixed. I'm not saying that these girls don't have talent. Like, I hope y'all don't think I'm saying these girls are talentless. Obviously, you have to have something to get yourself in the door, but that extra push, that extra promotion, that extra marketing will always and most likely come down to colorism, because I can't think of young Jamaican women who make music, who make dance hall, who are on the same public success as Shensia. There's just like a lightning, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'll see DJs play these music genres and they'll just play like the mixed people from every country. And I just want people to be more intentional about thinking like, actually, let me go out of my way and find Black, dark-skinned people who make this music genre, because that is how it started. And like, it's just so important to not lose the roots. And like, VMAs calling all African music Afrobeats is literally the erasure of Afrobeats. It's the erasure of why it got that name in the first place. And like I say, you can't have Afro beats or Afro Brazilian or Afro anything without the Afro. That is like, I just feel like, I don't know, like even when we think about like freaking reggaeton music and how Bad Bunny is the face of how Bad Bunny has like the most success in reggaeton, and people were saying that he's a Black man, and it's like, he's very obviously not a Black man. He is an Adam Sandler doppelganger, but people are so convinced that he's a Black man because it needs to be Black to like make you think that this is what Black people look like in Latin America. And it's not, because I've met dark-skinned people from Brazil, I've met dark-skinned people from Dominican Republic, I've seen dark-skinned Puerto Ricans. So like, this erasure and making it seem like everyone is white and mixed and light is really false, and like, it's happening globally. So I think it's so important for us to kind of realize what's going on and just be aware that how we're being used as pawns. And as Amber Abundant says, to pick the Blackest option if you can. So yes, let me know what y'all think about this whole discourse. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.